Good morning. It is Friday, December 20th. Here's what we're working on. A jewelry store in Ancaster set to reopen for the first time today after a violent robbery earlier this month.
Prime Minister Justin Trudeau is planning a sizable cabinet shuffle a little bit later this morning.
And this is timely. Hamilton's Name the Plow survey is back. We'll take a look at some of the names you can vote for. And I saw a couple of those plows out this morning.
Oh, did you?
Yes.
I got the list right here. There's some fantastic names
very
to
good
vote for. All right, yes, you called for snow. We got some.
Yeah, we did, didn't we? Yeah, we had some throughout the overnight, and we're going to get more today.
How much more?
5 centimeters of snow generally is what we're looking at. So that's enough to cause problems on the roads, you know. A couple of inches if you want to go back to the old measurement, but 5 centimeters generally. So it began last night. It's going to continue throughout the morning. It should taper off to some light snow flurry activity later on this afternoon and continue into tonight. But oh, look out. The temperatures are going to be really cold starting tomorrow. Funnily enough, as we get into winter tomorrow morning officially. But today, last full day of autumn, it's going to look like winter with that snow coming down. Temperature at the moment, we're sitting at -3, wind chill -9. We're going to climb to -1 today, but that wind is going to pick up. So the wind chill today is going to be cold, -10 with that bout of snow. And there is a winter weather advisory in effect for the Horseshoe right now. So be really careful on the roads. Let's check those roads right now and see how we're doing. 403 and Waterdown Road, it's slow actually to right off the get-go here. People are really slowing down, getting a lot of spray off the tires. Let's go to some MTO traffic cameras. Here's the Red Hill Creek camera. Not a lot of volume there. Toronto bound away from us. Here's the top of the Burlington Skyway Bridge going down toward North Shore. That's still pretty light. No problems here at Brodie Road, but yeah, remember, give yourself some extra time. Those roads could be slippery, particularly the outlying areas that haven't had the treatment yet. But the major routes, they're just going to be fairly wet and a lot of spray coming off the tires this morning. So we'll talk about weather and traffic coming up. Right now, the news.
Okay, thanks very much, Brian. Well, a jewelry store in Ancaster is set to reopen this morning after a violent robbery 2 weeks ago. Simone Gavros is in Ancaster now with more.
Well, Annette, the robbery here happened on December 5th, and you can see where that happened just here behind me. Now, a car reversed into that front window, and the window doesn't look to be fully repaired at this point. It's also covered with that fencing right in front of it, and there's a sign that says reopening soon, and there is a post on social media that shows that they are hoping to reopen this morning at 9:30 as the community is rallying together to show support for the jewelry store here. Now, this is just video of that attack that happened on December 5th here at Ancaster Jewelers. Now, Hamilton police say that the suspects involved allegedly pointed a gun at the owner before smashing display cases. The owner was taken to hospital with non-life-threatening injuries, and 5 people from Scarborough were arrested, all 20 years old and under, and there's still an outstanding suspect according to a release from police a couple weeks ago. Now, this robbery is among a series of brazen jewelry robberies in the GTHA. We reported on 6 this month alone, with some in Richmond Hill and Markham. The most recent one was in Waterloo at Conestoga Mall on Wednesday. Waterloo police say multiple suspects were seen using a hammer to smash and grab, just like all the other robberies. A 22-year-old man from Toronto was arrested, and police believe that the same suspects are connected to a Cambridge jewelry store robbery that took place Monday night. So we've been covering a number of these robberies that have been taking place across the GTHA, many of them happening in malls, but this one happened at a store just in Ancaster here. We've reached out to police for more, as well as the owners, to hear more about the opening that's happening today. For now, things back over to you, Tim.
All right, thanks, Simone. Well, the opening date for the temporary outdoor shelter in Hamilton has been delayed once again at a crucial time, with winter officially starting tomorrow. The city maintains the construction of the outdoor homeless shelter site at the Barton Tiffany lands is on track, but the delivery of micro shelters from overseas, that has caused setbacks. Mayor Andrew Horvath says she is extremely disappointed, as she had hoped to provide shelter before the snow. Last month, the province raised concerns about construction at the site and issued a stop work order due to confusion around permits. Meanwhile, 64 temporary beds have been opened at the Cathedral Boys School to ensure no one is left in the cold. The micro-shelters, they're expected in early January, with the site operational by the middle of January.
Prime Minister Justin Trudeau is expected to shuffle his cabinet today after a chaotic week for his party, with Chrystia Freeland's resignation and the departure of Housing Minister Sean Fraser. Sources say Ottawa MP David McGuinty is among the names of those to be joining the cabinet. He is the longest-serving MP among the names provided, elected in Ottawa South 20 years ago. Trudeau had already been preparing a cabinet shuffle before Chrystia Freeland resigned. That's to replace 5 ministers who will not be running in the next federal election. This cabinet shuffle comes amid growing calls for Trudeau himself to step down. Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre is among the loudest of those voices. Earlier this week, Poilievre demanded the government call an immediate election, arguing it should happen before Donald Trump's inauguration as U.S. president on January 20th. Trump has threatened 25% tariffs on Canadian goods unless our government cracks down on drug smuggling and illegal migrants into the U.S. Poilievre spoke with our Matt Ingram last night. Here's his reaction to Premier Doug Ford and other premiers getting involved in pushing back.
Do you approve of Doug Ford's push in the U.S. to drive the issue of tariffs? If you become prime minister, would you want to see Ford continue to push in the U.S.?
Sure, we need all Canadians to push our agenda, our pro-Canada, Canada First agenda in the States. But I think the problem is Trudeau and the NDP Liberal government in Ottawa is so weak and chaotic that the premiers have had no choice but to replace the normal role of the federal government in performing diplomacy, border control, and many other federal responsibilities. What we have right now is a Trudeau NDP Liberal government that has totally lost control of everything. They've lost control of borders, immigration, spending, debt, inflation, housing costs, crime, drugs, and now Trudeau's lost control of his cabinet. We need a new government that will take back control.
You can watch the full 10-minute interview at CHCH.com. Now, despite calls for Trudeau to resign, Burlington MP and Liberal House Leader Karina Gould tells us she continues to support the Prime Minister.
The Prime Minister has said that he has a lot to reflect on, and so I'm going to allow him the time and the space to have that reflection. But look, over the last 9 years, he has had quite, an impressive legacy for Canada. I mean, renegotiating NAFTA, particularly in the Hamilton and Burlington area, this is so important, making sure those steel and aluminum tariffs were lifted, the incredible social programs that we've been able to put in place, like childcare, which in the new year in our community and across the province are going to go down to an average of $22 a day. The really important work we've done to stimulate the economy, what we've done through the pandemic, all of that is a result of his leadership.
And she also reflected on Chrystia Freeland's resignation, saying it was a shocking day. You can watch the full interview with Karina Gould on our website as well, chch.com.
Getting to Sportsline, and there hasn't been too much good news for the Raptors so far this season. So many injuries. You can add leading scorer R.J. Barrett. He was out for their game against the Nets last night because of an illness, but a little bit of good news. Scotty Barnes was back.
How to manage certain situations, that's where you gain your confidence. Deep three, and Barnes connects.
Yeah, we thought Barnes would be out for a few weeks because of his bum ankle, but there he was, knocking down deep threes against Brooklyn. He would finish with 16 points. Ochai Agbaji led the way for the Raps with 20, and they had a lead into the fourth, but couldn't net a win. It's Cam Johnson broke the tie with under 2 to go. Brooklyn, they take it 101, 9-4. Raps have dropped 6 straight. Let's go to Orlando, where Shea and his OKC Thunder, coming off their NBA Cup loss on Tuesday to Milwaukee, were back at it, and SGA was pure magic. Got them back in the win column. He was back over 30 points in the night, finishing with 35. Heck, he had 24 in the first half. Thunder, they beat Orlando 105-99 for their 21st win of the season. Good for top spot in the West.
Alex Asadorian takes the shot off the post and in. What a shot from
Okay, on the Ice Dogs, they are streaking right now on a big night in Barrie, trying to tie the Colts for top spot in the East. Alex Asadorian, the star in this one, recording the hat trick as Barrie would hold off, or Niagara would hold off Barrie, that is, to win 6-5, which was their 6th straight win. This wraps up the first half before the Christmas break. They got one more tonight as they're in Brampton to take on the Steelheads. Speaking of hat tricks, Leafs prospect and London Knights forward Easton Cowan. Well, he had 3 last night in Ottawa as our World Juniors kicked off their pre-tournament games against Switzerland before a game start for reals on Boxing Day. Canada dominated the Swiss in this one, winning 7-0 in Ottawa. They got 2 more games before things really get going against Finland on Thursday. So with the juniors in Ottawa, the Sens, they continued their road trip out west.
Stützle shoots, Straub by Blue, rebound, Tkachuk scores!
And they have no problem playing on the road these days as Brady Tkachuk scored the OT winner in Calgary against the Flames to give them a 3-2 win. They have won 5 straight. They continue to make their way up the Atlantic standings. Next up is a date with the Canucks in Vancouver.
Herbert.
Week 16 of the NFL season underway last night from LA as the Chargers had a huge second half against their rivals from Denver for a big win. Justin Herbert, he tossed 2 touchdown passes. And this 2-point conversion, check that out. That is Brampton's Joshua Palmer. Fancy footwork at the back of the end zone to haul that one in. Beautiful. Chargers, they moved to second in the AFC West with the 34-27 win.
Okay, 6:11. It's a Friday morning, 20th of December. Let's not dilly-dally over a second cup of coffee this morning. Let's get going into the morning here because the roads, even though the traffic's not too bad here as far as volume is concerned, the snow is blowing and the wind is blowing as well. That camera's doing a little bit of shaking, so the snow continues to come down. Let's go to some MTO traffic cameras. As I say, there's not a lot of volume, but you're looking at wet roads here this morning. QEW in Glendale. We'll flip ahead to the Red Hill Creek camera, Toronto-bound lanes away from us. Same here, but you can see the precipitation, the spray off the tires here at Fairview. Ford plant looks good. We'll flip ahead to the QEW at Dixie. Not a lot to see volume-wise. It's pretty busy westbound. That's coming towards us, or Niagara-bound. So we do have some snow plows going on the QEW right now, treating the surfaces. Be really careful this morning and give yourself some extra time. Let's check our temperature right now. Temperature sitting at -3. The winds are picking up east-northeast now, 21 to 30, and that makes it feel like -9. We are getting that snow flurry activity, and I want to mention this right off the get-go. Stopping distances. It's going to take a lot longer and a lot farther to stop when you're getting that snow coming down. So give yourself a little extra space between vehicles. So for school today, some snow. -1 will be the high, but we could get about 5 centimeters of snow. And that's a look at the precipitation we've been getting over the past 6 hours. The blue, of course, is the snow, all because of that low pressure system diving to the south of it. It's going to take that blast of snow with it as it goes to the south later on this afternoon. But today there's that 5 centimeters. Today temperatures anywhere from 0 to -1, of course, chilly to Guelph and Kitchener. Tonight it gets cold. -7, -11, -12, wind chill values of -14 as skies begin to clear overnight. We'll see mainly cloudy skies tomorrow, getting into winter, but temperatures tomorrow will struggle. -6, -7, even -8 in some areas tomorrow. So, stepping out the door, 20th morning of December. We have a -3 temperature. Wind chill makes it feel, well, wind chill actually is -9. We have some light snow coming down right now. And we'll check the long-range forecast coming up.
Okay, we'll check on what's ahead with Emily Vukovic in Chit Chat. And in business news, the federal government's tax holiday, it seems to be working. A positive effect on both retailers and restaurants. 6:16 on your Friday morning. Good morning to Emily. We have a fun discussion coming up in Chit Chat.
Yeah, we have a couple of them. We're going to be chatting about the new SNL promo for its last show of the year coming up with Martin Short, and it's very funny and very cute. And yeah, Hamilton wants us to name some snowplows.
I have the list in front of me right here. There is some fabulous suggestions. I love puns.
Good.
We know I love puns, and they're very, very punny.
So I'm thinking I'm just going to sit on the couch and go, and the two of you are just going to go. So
okay.
That's the plan.
Sure.
Because the snowplows are going this morning.
Yeah.
They sure are. Boy, it's a chilly one.
Okay. We'll see you in the couch in a little bit.
I'll be there.
Okay, taking a look at business figures right now, the Canadian dollar in overseas trading is actually up just a little bit, 6 basis points to 69.52 cents U.S. Gold has gained $11.10. Crude oil is down 58 cents, below $69 a barrel. Midday trading in Europe, markets are down in London, Frankfurt, and Paris, with a triple-digit loss in Frankfurt.
Let's head to Asia on your Friday morning. Markets were down in Tokyo and Hong Kong and Shanghai. Okay, North America markets, how are they doing? Because we saw the huge losses on Wednesday. These are the Thursday figures. So the TSX on Bay Street still down triple digits, 143. We saw the Dow Jones rebound a little bit anyways because it had that massive drop on Wednesday. So some slight gains there. Slight losses for the NASDAQ, but still looking pretty. They'll wrap up the trading week a little bit later this morning. Hey, it's Friday, December the 20th.
Yes. And almost a week into the GST holiday, businesses are actually on track for a sales boost. The Vice President of Federal Government Relations for the Retail Council of Canada says, we are shifting our buying patterns because of this tax break. Boxing Day in particular is expected to get a boost. Businesses, especially those with older payment systems, had some trouble implementing the tax break on short notice and figuring out which items qualify. Now, the head of Restaurants Canada says it's been a little easier in their industry because everything except hard liquor qualifies. The expected uptick in restaurant spending in January and February, typically slow periods, is expected to make the biggest difference.
Got a new report that's saying Donald Trump's threats to impose massive tariffs on Canadian goods could potentially be devastating for businesses and workers in Canada. Canadian manufacturers and exporters, they polled more than 300 companies and found nearly 9 in 10 of them would face significant or very severe impacts if the incoming U.S. president makes good on his promise. And also found Canadian manufacturers are already taking preemptive measures to mitigate tariff risks ahead of his inauguration on January 20th.
Canada's greenhouse gas emissions fell for the first time last year since the pandemic. A preliminary emissions report from the federal government shows emissions were down by 6 million tons last year from 2022. That's a drop of about 8.5%. But it's still a long way off the 2030 target. By then, Canada has committed to reducing its emissions to 40 to 45% less than what they were in 2005.
BlackBerry is reporting a third quarter loss that's smaller compared to a year ago. Their CEO says the Waterloo-based company lost $11 million U.S. in the quarter compared to $21 million in third quarter of 2023. And the CEO says profitability topped expectations thanks to strong revenue in the company's cybersecurity and internet divisions. He says continued cost cutting and efficiency driving measures also contributed.
Okay, we're taking a quick break right now. Brian is going to be back with your weekend traffic and your morning traffic and your weekend forecast. How's that? We do weekend.
Good morning, 623. Have we emphasized this yet? Friday, we made it. Yes, let's check traffic here this morning. QEW Martindale. It's just wet roads through this area. Now, the Niagara Peninsula could get a little bit less snow than the rest of us. Top of the Burlington Skyway Bridge. This is the Burlington side looking down toward North Shore Boulevard. Everything's moving okay. It's just a lot of spray coming off the tires this morning. A little heavier here, getting some heavier snow moving through Mississauga at the moment. There's the QEW and Lorne Park, Toronto bound towards us. And we'll give you one more, 403 west of Mavis going through Mississauga. Yeah, it's just the wet roads that we have to contend with today. And just give yourself extra time and slow down. Take it carefully. Let's check our temperatures right now. Hamilton sitting at -3. Wind chill -9 this morning. Otherwise, -1 Grimsby, 2 Toronto, -4 into Mississauga at the moment. So seasonals this time of year are 0 still for the daytime high, -7 for the overnight low. So we're above seasonal to start a morning. Those are our sun times and records for today. And yeah, that snow flurry activity has settled in throughout the overnight. Continues this morning for the first bell, -1 for the first bell, -3 for after school. The snow will taper off to just some flurries flurries on and off throughout the afternoon. So long-range forecast, as I said, -1. Will be the high for the day today, with that 5 centimeters of snow generally around the horseshoe, little less for Niagara. Cold tonight and tomorrow night, -11 tonight as we get into winter early in the morning tomorrow. Tomorrow, -7 only with a wind chill of -15. Bitterly cold day tomorrow. And then -5 with sun on Sunday. Then we start to climb again, -3 on Monday, +1 as we get into Christmas Eve. And then we even go farther, 2 degrees Wednesday and 3 degrees for Thursday. That's your forecast. Annette, Tim.
Okay, so Macaulay Culkin says he thought about buying the Home Alone house when it went up for sale earlier this year.
Marv! Harry? Why the hell did you take your shoes off? Why the hell you dressed like a chicken?
I'm up here, you morons! Come and get me! You guys give up, or you're thirsty for more?
Never gets old. The 5-bedroom, 6-bathroom home, so this is in suburban Chicago, was listed for more than $5 million back in May. It was sold within a week. So during the Q&A at a viewing of the 1990 movie, the actor, who's 44, says he had half a mind to buy it, just for laughs. He said he imagined turning it into a movie funhouse where people could like reenact scenes and it become really a museum. But he said, I guess he's too busy with his own family to do that. But that would be so fabulous to do that because, you know,
yes.
A Christmas Story house in Cleveland is a museum.
And so many people go there to see it.
It's a pilgrimage to go to Cleveland to see that home. And I know it would be a pilgrimage to go and see this home because that's one of those movies that's just getting passed down from generation to generation. My kids love it. Like I loved it as a kid, and like it's forever everybody's going to talk about that home and how could they afford that home and live in that home?
And go to Paris.
And go to Paris. Oh. All of those topics. Okay, we got some active weather today. Last day of school before the holidays. Some excited kids. I know. We'll get to how much snow we're getting right after this.